Good afternoon. Today, I am here to remind you that learning and speaking a foreign language is easy. This is because all interactions, no matter where you are in the world, are formulaic. Conversations can and really should be scripted. We can anticipate the reaction of anybody we're talking to because we know exactly what they're going to say before they say it. It's amazing, isn't it? And we can respond with perfect grammatical accuracy 100% of the time. Right? Now, looking at you, I can see that some of you are thinking, is she crazy? Good. I'm glad. Because, of course, everything I just said is absolutely ridiculous. Learning a foreign language is hard work. We cannot anticipate what other people are going to say. I'll be honest, half the time I can't anticipate what I'm going to say next, let alone what you're going to say next. And we really don't expect grammatical perfection from ourselves or from anybody else, I hope. Anyway, that we don't. So my question then is, why do we teach language that way? Okay, before I move on, let's back up a little bit to your previous question. Am I crazy? Hopefully not, is a response to that. But I am an English language fellow, and I work in Odessa. I work with in-service and pre-service teachers, and I do professional development workshops. And today I want to share with you one of my favorite workshops that I give about using improv in the classroom to improve speaking. Now, I've found typically before I learn something new, it's easier for me to go back and look at something I already know. So before I move on quickly, I'd like to see a show of hands. How many of you currently use role plays in your classrooms? Great. So that's going to be our starting point. We are going to look at a role play. And role plays, when I use them, a lot of the times I use them to introduce a grammatical structure. In this role play, you'll see that we are looking at the present continuous. And this hopefully looks quite familiar to most of you. You would have your students practice this role play, perform this role play, and they would have fun. It's simple dialogue, right? The other idea for a role play, though, is to actually give them the roles and then go and review some of the language that they will need to perform. You might have them write a loose script or just have an understanding of what needs to be said. Practice, and then again, perform in front of the class. This all looks very familiar, correct? Okay, good. Now, let's look at how improvisation works. So the easiest way to do this is we started with role play, and now let's see in a Venn diagram how they're the same and how they're different. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the similarities. Well, of course, they're both active activities. Activities, right? So we're getting our students up out of their seats and speaking. Very important. There never seem to be enough opportunities to get our students out of their seats and speaking. They're also using realistic language. We are not going to have our students stand up and perform Shakespeare. Well, maybe sometimes, but not when they're doing role plays and improvisations. And finally, they're fun. We want our students to have fun while they're learning. This encourages them and motivates them to do better in class if they're having fun. Now let's see how they differ. Role plays are typically practiced. Now I'm not saying 100% of the time you're going to have your students practice, but most of the time you will. You're going to have them follow the script or have some prep time before you would ask them to perform in front of the classroom. Improvisation by nature is spontaneous. There's no way that they can practice, and we will see some examples of this in just a moment. In a role play, you are going to have limited language. Again, since it is scripted or using formulaic speech, they're limited by those restraints. Whereas the only limitations in improv are your students' vocabulary and their knowledge. Otherwise, they should be able to use any language available. Role plays are going to focus on form, whereas in improvisation, we're focusing on creativity, one of those great buzzwords for 21st century education. So we are in the idea of a role play. Remember, we use them a lot to introduce grammatical structures. Well, in improvisation, we're looking for them to create language in the moment, which is really how we talk, right? It's how we communicate. And finally, focus on accuracy versus the focus on fluency. When you have students rehearse and prepare, you do expect perfection, right? Whereas in improvisation, we're expecting them to talk, make mistakes, and not correct them. Now, teachers, this is difficult for us, I know. We hear mistakes and we immediately want to jump up and, oh, no, 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 that's wrong. Suppress that desire, please. Because what I want to tell you right now is, as a native speaker, I make mistakes constantly in English. And I promise, as native speakers of Ukrainian or Russian, you make mistakes too, right? This is just a few mistakes that I've heard in my life this week, maybe. And this is not an exhaustive list by any means. I do want to tell you, though, when your students make mistakes in improv, and I'm going to extend this to when speaking in class, really allow those mistakes to happen, because this provides them the opportunity to become fluent. Mistakes are fluency. Okay, so what I'd like to do, I told you earlier that you were going to see some improvisational activities. And I'd like to invite a couple of volunteers up onto the stage so you can see a few activities that you can use in your classroom on Monday. So can I have Aliona and Dane, who you will probably recognize, come on out here. And we are going to play 4 games with improvisational activities. And the first game we're going to play is called Greetings. And this is a great game that can be used in any level. Works well in low-level classes, but you can also use it in mid or high-level classes as an energizer or warm-up. And the way Greetings works is you'll ask all of your students to stand up and mingle. And in mingle, they're going to walk around and mix and just greet each other. And intermittently, you will stop them and give them a relationship and see how that greeting changes. So let's go ahead and see. Can you guys just greet?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay,
Cool.
I'd like you to greet each other like you are long-lost friends.
Oh my God, it's so great to see you.
I haven't seen you in a while, but I missed you so much.
Exactly. How have you been? It really is really great to see you. It's been a long time.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and change this now to someone you don't really trust.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
It's nice to see you. How are you?
How are you? I'm fine. Thank you.
Cool.
You look good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Now, somebody you know you've met before, but you can't remember their name.
Hey, you.
Hi.
How you doing?
Could you please remind me how to, to spell your name?
To spell my name. Kind of a strange question. It's nice to see you. Yeah, I guess I could remind you if That's something you really like.
Okay, thank you so much, Aliona and Dane. That was wonderful. So you can see how this can be a fun activity for your students as they're walking around the class and allows them to use language in a fluent manner. Okay, the next activity we're going to look at is called What Are You Doing? I'm going to be joining them for this activity. The way this one works is you will split your class into 2 groups and have one person in the middle. So we're going to have, Aliona, you'll be one group. Dane, you'll be my middle person. And I will be the second group. So Dane is going to start doing an action. And the moment Aliona can recognize what he's doing, she's going to ask the simple question, what are you doing? He can answer anything he wants, but what he is actually doing. Okay? Let's try it and see what it looks like.
Okay, so she will ask me and then I will rotate out, yes? Okay.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm putting on makeup.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
I'm driving a car.
Okay.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm playing basketball.
Playing basketball, oh great. With one hand.
Okay, thank you very much. So you can see again how this would work really well for even some low-level beginner classes or even high-level classes as, again, an energizer, a warm-up, or just an ending activity to have some fun in your class. The next activity we're going to look at is called presents. In this game, they are going to exchange gifts, and you will only know what the gift is when the receiver opens it and tells you. I like to put a spin on this one, where it's a gift that you don't really want, but you have to pretend that it's the best thing you've ever received. Okay? So let's go ahead and start. Aliona, you will be receiving the gift first.
And I get to choose the size of the gift. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay. Here you go.
Oh, God. Is it a chair?
Yeah, I mean, you're always talking about chairs, so I assumed it would be a great gift for you. And I know how you love to sit.
Oh, God. And the color you
Yep,
chose.
that is flamingo. Those flamingo feathers, yes, for the color.
It will suit my garage.
That's not exactly what I had in mind, but sure, yeah, it'd be great in your garage, yeah. Absolutely. I'm so glad you enjoy it.
Of course, I will.
And it's really comfortable. Super, super soft.
I see.
Yeah, you don't want to try it?
It's wooden.
It is wooden, yes,
it's
but
hot.
it's, well, I suppose you could say it's hard for you, but for some people, that's very soft. Flamingo feathers.
Okay, thank you.
You can try it, please.
I will.
Okay, and before we get to that point, let's go ahead and stop it. Thank you very much. And then they would exchange gifts the other direction, but I think we have the general idea, right? And the last one I want to look at today is called a simple continuation. And in a simple continuation, the students will get up in front of the class and have a conversation, and it's very open. But I like to do this one using prompts. So yesterday, I asked some of the volunteers here at TED to write down some prompts, and I have them here. And we're just going to grab one. And the only rule for this activity is the rule of yes and. What this rule means is that no matter what one person says to the other, they have to agree to the idea of it and add to it. So for example, if someone were to come up to me and say, "So how was your trip to Tahiti?" I can't respond, "I've never been to Tahiti," because now the conversation's over. I'd have to agree. "Well, it was great. I love Tahiti," and then add something more. but you were there with me, don't you remember? And then the conversation can continue. So the prompt is here, and I'm going to give it to Aliona. And go ahead.
Why are you dressed like a clown?
Well, I know it's your birthday, and I know how much you love not only sitting, but I know how much you love clowns.
You might forget that I'm afraid. It's my fear.
Oh, you're afraid of clowns.
And I'm afraid of clowns.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Don't do it. Just
well, maybe we can
away.
overcome this fear today. Would you like to honk my nose? Really,
No, it looks like.
It's quite soft.
I see, and it's red. Yeah.
It is red. Yes, it's the typical clown color for a nose. Yes.
When you were standing there, you
wait till you see what's in my shoe. My shoe. It's amazing. It's
okay,
really cool.
Thank you so much. Okay, and I would like to thank Dane and Aliona for doing such a wonderful job doing the demonstrations for us today. Wonderful. Thank you very much. So today what I hope you saw were some activities that you could take away and use in your classroom on Monday. I hope that you saw a way to incorporate fun into your classroom and to understand that out of all of these activities, the only preparation I had to do was have other people write down a few ideas. Zero preparation is really what happened here. Because as teachers, I understand we all have limited time. So this is a great way to bring something into your classroom that doesn't require a lot of time on your part. And finally, and really the most important thing, is fluency and creativity. Let your students have the opportunity to create language in a natural way, incorporating whatever, no limitations. Let them speak, let them make mistakes, and let them create. Because we need to not only prepare them to pass exams, but also prepare them to communicate in the real world. Thank you.